Hey, what's going on, everybody? I did have Frank here, but for some reason, your camera's still there, Frank. Don't worry.
Okay.
I'm gonna bring you in, but I have Frank. Oh, there you are. Why isn't it?
Hey.
Wait, what? Okay, okay. I gotta leave that window open now. OBS is being weird for me right now, but we'll leave that open. Hi, Frank. How are you today? I'm sorry
I'm
about
good.
that.
How are you? It sounds like
I'm
there's some
good.
trouble over there.
Yeah, for some reason it's making me keep open the properties part of your camera. I don't know why. We're not going
Yeah,
to talk
I'm
about
so
it.
ugly it
It
just doesn't want to
I
like
got
look
I'm
at me.
no, no, no. Stop that. You look great. Everybody, this is Frank. He is from Metal Injection and he does Slay at Home Fest, which I believe most of you know what that is. If you don't, you can go right to slayathomefest.com. It's right there in the chat and check it out. And we're going to get into that in a few, but we're going to start off with some stuff that I like to ask my guests right away. Pretty much, Frank, how did you get into metal music? I assume as you were a kid.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it started, I would say, when I was like 4 or 5 years old, really through my dad. He was a
Wow,
metalhead.
very young.
So
Yeah.
so naturally, like any metalheads maybe watching this and who have kids, what are you gonna do?
Hmm.
You're gonna show your
Oh
kid,
yeah.
metal. So my dad, he did that. He did the same thing, but it was all like of the time,
Oh, for
So
sure.
like the Skid Row and Dokken and Metallica and everything that
Yep.
was popular in the early '80s is like
Hmm.
kind of what he was listening to, henceforth what I was listening to,
Yeah.
and it kind of grew from there. I would say like my first real love or obsession, although I loved Skid Row and Twisted Sister and everything like that. It was Guns N' Roses was like my heroes and my idols, and I was just so obsessed with the band as a
Yeah.
kid. And my dad brought me to go see them live when I was 9 years old, and that
Wow.
like it was at Madison Square Garden, and it was during the Use Your Illusion tour,
Hmm.
and that was really the moment. I think like I'd never seen anything so big in my life. I'd never been to
Yeah.
like a stadium or anything like that. So
Madison
just
Square Garden's huge. It's awesome.
it's huge. It was just a massive show. It was a massive spectacle. So it definitely blew my mind and like made me say when I was 9 years old, I was just like, I want to be part of that. Like I
Yeah.
don't know how and I don't know like how it works or whatever, but I just want to be part of that. I didn't even play music at that time,
Hmm.
like that's eventually what led to me being a musician and playing drums and everything. But like yeah, that was it. That
Wow.
was that moment that like really solidified me as a music fan, as a metalhead.
Yeah.
And then, of course, like any good metalhead out there, it just gets heavier and heavier. And
You
from Guns N' Roses, it was like
got to find
uh,
more.
went heavier and heavier until like by the time I was like 13 years old, I was listening to really obscure, death metal and black metal bands from the corners of the earth that I
Damn.
never thought I would ever see. But what's really funny is I actually recently found a school binder,
Yeah.
like the canvas. I'm sure they probably
Oh,
still have them today.
I think they still make them, right?
Yeah, it's like been a while since we've both been in school,
Right.
so
Yeah.
but you know how like you used to like draw logos of your
Oh
favorite
man.
bands.
All the time.
So I found one from when I was 13 years old,
Yeah.
and so that's like 93, 94, and I was like really into like obscure bands, and it's kind of funny to think like the obscure bands of that time were Emperor,
Oh man.
and Dissection, and
At
like
13?
yeah, oh yeah. I
Wow.
was like obsessed with like I was a nerd, first of all. Like I didn't have friends. I didn't have
Yeah.
friends or anything like that. It was to me, I was like a A+ student who was just like fell into pen pals overseas and like
Yeah.
being part of the tape trading scene, and like
Okay.
those were my friends. It was like
Yeah.
keeping up with VHS tape trading and shit like that. And
Hmm.
so metal really gave me a safe space to talk to people because I was such a loner, and gave me an outlet and gave me a hobby. It gave me an interest in life. It really consumed my whole life, and
Yeah.
that's kind of my story of upbringing with metal for sure.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, got into it like that early. So you were 9 years old when you saw Guns N' Roses?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Was
And
that your
then immediately, that was my first show. My second
first
show
show?
was Metallica during the Black Album,
Oh my God,
and
dude.
then Merciful Fate was my third at a tiny club that doesn't
Wow.
even exist in New York City anymore. So
That's gnarly, dude. What a good intro into metal.
yeah, then by the time I was 14, my dad, like, he would come to me with to all the shows because he, like I said, he was a metalhead.
Yeah.
And he when I was like 14 years old, he gave me a fake ID because he was like, I don't know if I can keep up with you. Like, here's a fake ID, just keep on going, you know?
It's a fake
And
ID.
yeah, and so he got me a fake ID, and then I would go to like every show whenever I wanted at like
Mm-hmm.
CBGB's or Coney Island High, and these are venues in New York City for people that
Yeah.
don't know that don't exist anymore, of
Mm-hmm.
course.
Yeah.
But yeah, I grew up in a venue basically,
Wow.
like
That's
my
rad, though.
stomping grounds were like Lower East Side venues and stuff like that.
Yeah. And you stayed in New York City? You grew up?
Was
Did you ever?
born, bred, yeah, as all New York all the time. Lately, these days, I don't know if you saw, but recently I'm kind of nomadic. So
Yes. I
I
was going to bring that up too.
yeah, I'm all over the place now. I just decided that it's kind of like something in my head that I always wanted to do,
Yeah.
and being fortunate to do what I do and kind of like really embracing it, I realized like, well, a lot of what we do could be done anywhere in the world.
This is
You don't,
true. That's what I
like
tell people.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's internet based,
Yeah.
so it's just like, why the fuck do I need to be
Yeah.
anywhere?
We got our laptops, dude. We
Yeah,
got our laptops and smartphones. I mean, it's like you can do anything. Like people ask me, like, yeah, you just travel. I'm like, yeah, I can work from anywhere. It doesn't matter as long as I have internet.
right.
If I can
Exactly.
if I can get on some Wi-Fi on my laptop, I mean, shit, dude. I booked so many tours from my phone.
I mean, what's funny is like, I'm sure like before the internet, people were doing the same thing though.
Oh
They
yeah,
were like on payphones booking tours.
yeah. Oh yeah, I could imagine. I remember early on, before I got a smartphone. Because the first smartphone I got was a BlackBerry, but before I got the BlackBerry, it was obviously being at home checking my email. But like if I were to go like my friend's house or whatever, I would be like, "Yo, can I use your computer real quick? I gotta check my email, see if I got these dates booked."
Right.
And that's how it was. Then the BlackBerry came out, and I was like, "Oh my god, I can do it all from this thing."
Yeah.
It's fucking
Well,
game
hey,
changer.
and I think that's a beautiful thing is that we are at that age where we bridge that gap and we know what life was like before,
Yeah.
and know how much easier it is now.
Mm-hmm.
But I never really forget where I came from. Like, it's
yeah.
awesome to kind of look back on those days and be like, not be like, oh, well, when I was your age, like, but really kind of embrace the idea that like, we worked harder, back then, and we're not afraid of doing the work and getting our hands dirty. But at the same time, the tools today are just
I know.
amazing.
I think that's why we're still doing it, because I still have people who ask me from time to time, like, how are you still dealing with this? I'm like, I dealt with harder. I don't know. I'm just so used to it. It's like a normal thing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I guess I just like the stress. I don't know.
Yeah,
Right.
I ask myself that same thing all the time too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, why do I like this?
I think I thrive in chaos or something like that.
I do too, man. It was weird during the whole pandemic. It was like, I've said it before, but it was like waking up to like, it started, a lot of emails during it because it was so hectic. And then it was like nothing. It was just silent. And I was like, I would wake up in the morning, check my email. I'm like, what? Is my email down? And I'll ask my boss, Stefan, I'm like, yo, is your email working? He's like, dude, we're not getting emails, bro. Like, there's just nothing right now. I'm like, okay, so what should I do? I don't know what to do.
Yeah. I certainly didn't.
There was like points like that. It wasn't like the whole time.
Oh yeah. I mean, I think that's like the public image is like, oh well, everybody's on vacation, but I mean, it's
No.
as we talk about in our panel coming up this weekend.
Yes.
But we certainly not the case for really anybody. I mean, me included, especially. I don't ever really take a break. And
yeah.
like, where my personal life begins and ends in my work life. It's all like kind of melded together, really. So,
Yeah.
you know, maybe it's my psychosis, but I don't like to not. I don't know how to relax, you know,
Yeah.
or like I'm not a person who I don't know jack shit about television or movies or what's out right now or what's the popular trend. It's because I'm too busy. Like, well, what could I do to stay busy, and how do I
Yeah. Or
make news when there is no
make news
news?
or create things, or like you did with the fast. It's like, what can you keep doing? It's like me. I'm like, my brain keeps going. I'm like, all right, what? This band needs to tour. I'm like, who could I get them with? You know, like who should they tour? I'm gonna go hit up this agent, or I'm gonna hit up that band, and I'm just like doing. Even when I'm like laying in bed, I'm doing this because like ideas will just like, spark in my brain. Like even like moments before I feel like I'm gonna like fall asleep, I'm like, no, I gotta email that person because I'm gonna forget if I don't, and I have to do it. Like I will wake up a little bit just to get that energy to type out that email, and then I'm like send and go to bed.
What's amazing is, you know, you're talking like these tools, even though they made it so much easier for us, they are also killing us in that regard. Like, because like the
Yes.
urgency is like, oh, I can't wait till tomorrow, you know?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So,
There's definitely the pros and cons. Definitely the
yeah.
pros and cons. So when did you get into playing drums? Because you did have a band. I don't know if you guys are still a band, Mika's Murder, right?
No, not really,
Not too
actually.
much.
So, the story there, and we never really publicly said anything about it. We just said, "Oh, we're on hiatus," and that was the end of it.
Yeah.
But what actually happened is our singer slash guitar player got a really fancy pants job
Oh.
at Apple, and he's
Okay.
yeah, he's a really big app developer for Apple now,
Damn.
and
That's crazy.
we were just super stoked for him, and was of course like, you know, real life is comes before band and everything else. So
Yeah.
that kind of put an end to everything, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So that band does not really exist anymore.
Mm-hmm.
We were in the middle of writing a new album that I don't know, you know, if it'll ever see the light of day or
Yeah.
what's going on with that.
One of
It's
those
kind of been,
situations.
yeah, I mean, it's
Yeah.
been so long now that, and you know, like it's I don't know, to be honest. I don't really know where to go with that. Like I don't even know if anyone cares anymore, you know what I mean? It's one of those things where if you're not relevant and putting stuff out and people forget, and you know, but it could go the other way. Maybe we're, you know, the next Refused, and 10 years 15 years later it's like, you know,
People,
we're
somebody
old
could,
men.
yeah. And then all these people are
Jump.
finding out about your band and talking about like,
Yeah.
it's like, oh shit, because it can happen. It does happen. There's bands that have broken up, and years later, people are like finding out about them, and then
Well, look at the Gates. That dude, I
example,
mean,
prime example.
I've watched
I
At
did
the
not
Gates
expect
play.
that to happen.
I've watched At the Gates play in front of 25 people.
Oh
And I
man,
shit you not, back in the 90s, like
yeah.
nobody knew who the fuck they were, but they were one of my favorite bands. You know, like
Mm-hmm.
when I was there the day Slaughter of the Soul came out, and you know, me and my dad ran home and listened to it. Same thing with Heartwork. Look, those were two of our
Damn.
big ones.
Yeah.
And you know, I mean, like the you know, Swedish death metal scene was like huge for me,
Yeah.
but like all those records, they meant the world, and they were hard to get, you know, in America, and you had to wait a little bit for them.
Mm-hmm.
But they were just onto something, you know,
Mm-hmm. They
and
were,
and
man.
and whenever they did come in packages, like opening for Napalm Death or something like that, like of course I was there to see it, but no, you know, they were the opening band,
Yeah.
and back then it was just, you know, like nobody knew what they had in front of them. So watching them play in New York, you know, to like 25 people, and then come back 12 years later to two sold out nights at Irving Plaza with everybody screaming the lyrics like so loud you couldn't even hear the band,
Yeah.
like that was just
It's
crazy. It
wild
felt
to see.
amazing.
Yeah. It's like finally, you
Yeah.
motherfuckers are listening.
Yeah. I mean, I could be like a weird, you know, whatever, and be like, oh, well, you know, and I prefer them when they were playing to 25 people, but you know, I like big shows,
Yeah, I
you
did
know?
too. And I like seeing things like that happen. You see, like it's
Right.
a small
Yeah.
band, just like
They
never.
got their due and they
Yeah,
deserve it,
and
you
then
know?
they blow up, and it's like then you see all these fucking people going crazy for them. It's like, wow, this is awesome. Like I can't
I
imagine
mean,
how they feel on stage right now, seeing this happen in front of them.
I'm very fortunate I've been doing this for a long time.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I've had metal injection now for 17 years,
Wow.
and even before that, like as we've been speaking about, like I've been a metalhead my whole life, really.
Yeah.
So I'm very fortunate to have watched bands blow up and like play tiny venues. I mean, really starting with like Type O Negative was probably my first one. They were, my hometown band. Like
Yeah.
I saw Peter Steele in the street shopping, grocery
Yeah.
shopping, going to the bank. Like, what I mean? Like I was always around.
Mm-hmm.
So I saw Type O Negative, I lived like a block away from his grandmother. So I'd like, like see his
That's
giant, awesome car.
Yeah.
He had a very distinct car that, you couldn't miss. So, anytime I saw the car, I knew he was around, and I'd be a little bit of a stalker as a kid.
Because you're a fan. You're like, oh my God.
What's he doing?
What?
But yeah, so watching a band like that, go from little hometown hero status to, a giant worldwide renowned act is just an amazing thing to watch,
Oh yeah, it is.
and that's happened so many times. I've seen Slipknot play tiny clubs.
Yeah, even Jess
and
in chat just brought him up and said, how about Slipknot blowing up in the late 90s?
Oh, dude, I've seen them play tiny venues back in the day. I actually saw them
really?
I saw their very first club show. Actually, it was after the Ozfest thing. They did a like kind of like a private event for Roadrunner at
Wow.
what was it, a Limelight in New York City, because
That
Roadrunner
rings
is
a bell.
based in New York City.
Yeah.
And so they were doing, I guess, like for the Roadrunner executives, they wanted to put on like a, what could be a big, a standard Slipknot show or whatever.
Yeah.
And that was one of their bigger shows because they played like Birch Hill and Jersey, and like after Ozfest, even though that was where they got their start, they immediately came back and started playing like the the club circuit, whatever, to gain momentum. And and whenever I liked a band, like I really went to go see them a lot, so like Fear Factory, I saw like fucking 25 times or something in like the Demanufacture Obsolete era. System of a Down, I saw like 20 times in the their first record cycle. And shit, I mean, even going like Rammstein, I saw in the 90s play a tiny club in New York City to like 300 people.
Damn, dude, you saw some bands at the right time. I wish I was able to see. It's not.
My thing has always been like explore underground bands, get in early. Like if you love them, support them. You know, look at like I mean, and it's definitely worked out with Metal Injection. I did the first Ghost interview. Like,
wow.
That was a band that like I didn't really know would be such a huge sensation. I just loved their take on like what they were doing, and meeting Tobias and him not even like it was so early.
He didn't even realize it, huh?
None of us realized it. He didn't even realize, like he was learning how to get into costume when I met him.
Wow. Yeah.
That's how early it was. But same thing with like Deaf Heaven. I did Deaf Heaven's first interview, or a lot of bands, man. Like I just like these are bands where I listen to the demo, and I'm like, fuck, that band has something,
like, you feel it, it,
it. I've helped bands get signed before. Like if I don't like when bands like punish me, to listen to their stuff. But like if I find it and I'm really into it, like you'll
show your friends, right?
And try to help. But
that's right.
It's been an amazing adventure, and I love to watch. As a musician myself, I love to watch amazing bands get where they need to be.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. Even when I like find like really young bands, I'm like, and I'm just like way into it. I'm like, you guys mind if I show your band to like some people? I'm like, I think like, Metal Blade might like you guys, or like this label or whatever, or like this manager or somebody else will like really dig your band. Like I don't mind doing that stuff. And, even with me, like I've gotten plenty of bands signed to labels, and I just because I fucking love them. And I'm like, there's a lot of, I see something there,
As a booking agent, you are like, I think, in one of the most coveted spots, really. Like
Yeah.
everybody wants a great booking agent, like that's kind of one of the reasons that people think that they want a label or to get signed is to play the good shows. And that's kind of where you come in. So,
Yeah, I mean, it is a good spot to be on. It's a weird job. It's weird to explain it to people or older people. It took my parents a long time to realize what the fuck I do. But they get
I
it
still
now.
can't explain to my mom what I do.
Yeah. Like I've never actually like sat down with my parents and explained how to book a tour. Like that's never happened. Maybe it will one day. I don't know. But, they understand that I like book the band's tour dates. Like I book them their shows. So that's what they know. And that's, they know that's how I make money.
It's just nonstop correspondence and,
yes. Oh yeah.
and dealing with a lot for sure.
Dealing with a lot of personalities. You and I both.
Yeah.
And it's like and I tell people, I'm like, you just gotta learn how everyone works and how they are and adjust to how they are and know, your boundaries and know when, to stop talking or when to not hit them up too much so you don't annoy them.
Right.
So there's a lot of different things. But anyway,
I always say that, every like metal's all encompassing, like every type of personality you could ever imagine is here, in metal for sure.
Oh yeah,
So,
definitely. So
I think we lucked out that for the most part, I think like 95% of people are pretty awesome.
Yeah,
so.
For the most part, yeah, I would say 95% is a good percentage there.
Yeah,
people are awesome. Oh shit! So you're the one that started Metal Injection. I don't know too much history on Metal Injection.
Okay. Well, yeah. So I do have a partner, Rob.
Yes, I know Rob.
We
cool
started it 17 years ago. Well, a little more than that, actually. So we started as a Brooklyn cable access television show. I always joke that it's like Wayne's World, really. Like we, I borrowed my mom's high 8 camera. Going even further back, like how we actually met was. I was managing a telecommunications company, and he came in for a job through this girl that I know, and I wound up hiring him. And during his lunch breaks, he would come to my office, and I would just talk about metal nonstop. And one day he was just like, "Dude, you like know so much about metal, and like what do you think about starting a TV show or something?" And I was like, yeah, I hate my life in business. I'm going to start a TV show. So I wound up grabbing my mom's camera, this shitty high 8 camera.
Yep.
And buying a bunch of, an Apple computer and like video conversion cards and stuff like that. And,
yeah.
And figuring it out, like just trial and error, like anything else in life.
Yeah.
And we were off to start a TV show. And like I said before, because I was a tape trader or VHS tape trader, I had a lot of videos of bands, music videos, live videos, all kinds of shit. So we would just do really dumb sketches, and I would splice in, some of those videos, and then put that, and that would be our show, basically. It's just like, dumb 5-minute sketch, video, another dumb 5-minute sketch, video.
Yeah.
And we did that for quite a while. It was just a thing with friends to get together on a Friday night and make a TV show. And then I would hand in a tape, to BCAT, the cable access television station, on Sunday. And then,
and they would air it.
They would air it, but they were not really fond of us, like especially me having long hair and shit like that. Like they just were really not cool with the whole metal vibe because, BCAT at least at the time, I don't even know if it still exists now, but at the time it was very hip hop centric, So they were not into us, and they kind of fucked with our time slot a lot. And sorry, I don't know if I'm allowed to curse on this.
Oh, you can. Yeah, that's fine.
Cool. I don't know the rules.
Hey, I know. It's new to you.
So we would put that out, and it kind of transformed. I mean, you know, like we had the foresight to really think, you know, see the internet going, and January 1st, 2004 is when we actually published the website. And I was going to say it was a trial and error, but to be honest with you, it still is trial and error.
Yeah, I feel like
You
it's
know, like
forever
it's
that.
never ever done, you know, like
Mm.
growing and expanding. And I always say that, like, I think the most important thing that I do with a lot of my time is thinking up new ways to make what we do relevant, or make a spectacle, you know, like stuff like Slay at Home, you know,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and On the Record and all these other things that I wound up doing over the years, you
just to
know.
stand out, you know,
I
do something
mean, you
different.
know,
That's how you have to do it.
yeah, well, I mean, that goes for anything, any brand, any band out
Mm-hmm.
there, you know. If you're not going to stand out as a band, you're not going to make it, you know.
That's true, especially now more than ever. I feel like
Yeah.
big time. So then, okay, so metal inject. That was the name from the start. Metal injection.
It was because the idea is that, you know, like
I like that name.
actually it was kind of a, you know, I'll say it right now, it's kind of a secret, but like if I could go back in time and change anything, it would be the name.
What?
Yeah.
Why?
Because it's not in retrospect, like at the time it was a fitting name because
Yeah.
of what we were trying to explain, you know, like it was just like, oh well, you know, like metal is that thing that like you need more of it and it has to get heavier, and you know, like it was kind of like a drug reference, you know, like a heroin type thing, and we
Okay,
kind of
I
did away
understand.
with that
Yeah.
like you know, aesthetic to it, so to speak.
Yeah.
But even as a name itself, I do think it might be a little limiting, especially when you're talking to advertisers. You know what I mean? Like, you
True.
know, like, oh well, you want to advertise a metal injection? It could be a
Yeah,
little
I just
tough
don't
to
hear it. I
convince
don't
them.
see it that way, but others I could see, you know,
Well, you
being
know, when you're
like,
talking to like Coca-Cola and Doritos, they're not going to take you seriously. You know?
no, they're like metal injection.
Yeah.
The fuck is that? Okay, I get it.
Yeah.
I understand now why you would
Yeah.
go back and change it.
But at the same time, it's such a staple.
Yeah.
Like I don't think about it too often, to be honest with you. But you know, it's one of those situations where like you know, you give meaning to a phrase or something.
Mm-hmm.
So you know, it is what it is. But yeah, Metal Injection, that was the name
From the
from the
start, yeah.
beginning, from the start. It did transform to a, you know, weird TV show to what it is today. We like little by little started unfolding, you know, news and interviews and podcasts and photos. And the thing is that, you
It's like
know,
all over the place.
we're very ambitious, you know.
Yes,
and
I can tell.
and I'm a very insatiable person as well. Like I know, like in and out of business, like, you know, I it's never good enough for me. Like, I want more. We got to do bigger. It has to be bigger. And, you know, I look back on my life and I'm like, I haven't done anything yet. You know, like,
Yeah.
I need to do more. And
Got to keep going. You got to keep doing bigger and better things. I mean, I don't know. It's like it is a weird feeling because even like myself, I'm like, man, I just want things to get bigger. Like, especially with like my tour, Devastation on the Nation. I'm like, I just want to be bigger. I want to get Lamb of God. I want to get Killswitch. You know, I want Dahlia. I want fucking Metallica. You know, I'm like, I just want this thing to explode.
yeah,
Because it's like, it's
well,
your baby.
I mean,
It's your, you know, it's
yeah.
you.
Well, I
Essentially.
can't wait for you to have Metallica on there.
Wow, it would be great. Metallica, please headline it.
Yeah. I'll be right there begging you for a you know, guest pass.
Yeah, I guess.
Like everybody else.
Yeah. So
Plus 8 friends, you know.
Yeah, plus 8, please. Good question in chat. What would you change the name to if you could? Did you
Oh,
ever?
my.
Did you have like an I?
No.
No.
I don't-
I'm so
you know,
bad with
naming-
coming up with names for things.
Exactly. And I don't like how permanent stuff is, you know, like, I mean, dude, it's fucking hard enough to have like a handle, you know, like, I mean, if you think about like, I even as a kid, my AIM name was like the biggest problem. Like, oh man, I gotta like, you know, like, oh, I don't know what it's gonna be. What is it? I'm gonna be known as this forever.
Yeah, it was the most annoying thing ever. Your AOL Instant Messenger name. It's like, oh, that brings back memories. I think you. What's that?
It's just, you know, it's a kind of a strange concept to think of a name that's going to last
Yeah.
and you can't change. And so no, I mean, you know, but when I was like, I don't know, 10 years old, I wanted my name to be Zytras. So, you know, I'm kind of stoked that I didn't go follow through with that, you know.
Yeah.
So,
There are, yeah, someone said there's so many bands who hate their own names. Yes, tons. I feel like probably 90% of bands hate their band name, especially
well,
the earlier
because
ones.
you grow as a person, you know,
Hmm.
like your opinions change, your views change, and it's hard to, but like I said before, you kind of give meaning to it, you know. I mean, I
Hmm.
don't know that you're right, like you know, or they're right, you know, like I mean,
Yeah,
I'm sure most bands hate their name, but at the same time, like, could they imagine being who they are without it? Probably not.
probably not. No. I feel like Devil. I feel Dead Ringer in chat literally read my mind. He said the Devil Wears Prada despises their name. I'm like, yeah, they have. I'm pretty sure they do.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's tons of bands that hate their names because they're like they start the band so young. You know, if it's one of those bands that have been around and they just come up with something that might be goofy, and then they get older and they're like, "Wow, why did we name the band this? I'm 30 now."
Right.
You
Well,
know?
hey, we were in that boat. We were like what,
Oh
21,
yeah,
22 when we started Metal Injection, you know,
yeah.
so
Dude, even like
um
my earlier on like agency name, I love that song from Converge, Love is Arson. So my first agency was called the Love is Arson Agency. And as I got older, I was like, I love the name and Converge is one of my favorite bands, but I'm like, I hate this name now. I'm like, it's kind of corny. And then
yeah.
I joined the agency I'm at, but it's just how it is.
I mean, it's such a thing that, like, you know, like when Ghost BC
Oh, yeah.
happened, nobody took that seriously, and like
Mm-mm.
they fought and fought and fought to go back to Ghost, because that shit, you know, once you're stuck with something, you're stuck with it. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you're known as it, and to change it is just kind of like suicide, you know what I
Yeah,
mean? So
it is. It definitely is. So let's get into Slay at Home Fest, which I have to say, I love the name. It's perfect.
yeah, well, that one was an easy one.
That's an easy one. Did that
Yeah.
just come to mind right away? Was it just like you had this
Oh,
idea for
yeah,
this? And it was like,
absolutely. It was,
this
I
is
mean,
easy.
well, it's funny. I mean, like in the news, it was stay at home, stay at home, stay at home, stay at home. And I'm
All
like,
that.
what? Slay at home? Like it's like a
Yeah.
total like stoner idea. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I'll slay at home, man, every day, you know. And 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 yeah, well, then I looked it up to see if it was like available as a
Mhm.
website or anything like that. And apparently it's like a term that mothers use. It's like a slay at home mom is what
Oh,
the term. And
did not know
I'm
that.
pretty certain that they're not fond of me. You know, because if you check like hashtags for slay at home,
Just
it's like
Slay at Home?
it's
Yeah.
yeah, it's like a cross between
Oh my
you know,
God.
women who were like knitting sweaters and like, you know, metal bands. So yeah,
That's fucking hilarious.
I think I ruined their lives, man. Yeah.
They're probably looking at the head. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Who's this? Well, it's a great name and it makes total sense for this. The one you have coming up, which is tomorrow, everybody, and Saturday, Friday and Saturday. This is the third one?
Of what?
Slay at
Slay at
Home.
home.
Yeah.
Well,
Am
so
I wrong?
it's a little confusing. I actually did I did, it started as a festival, you know, in last May.
Oh.
The very first iteration of it was a 2-day festival,
Yeah. I
and it
remember.
was big, and you know, like I basically I saw it was really, it came out of me talking to a lot of people about the situation and a lot of my touring friends. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, these days my friends are like all musicians on tour, you know,
Yeah.
like I just, those are my homies, and like, you know, they
Mm-hmm.
were all home, and we're all calling each other,
Yep.
and hearing everybody's stories and projections and predictions. It just it kind of depressed me, and I was just like, you know what, I think I could do something about this, and put us all to work, you know,
Yeah.
and maybe do something for a great cause. And So Slay at Home was something that I had mulling around for a couple weeks. And during quarantine, one of my closest friends and my quarantine buddy was Dave Davidson of Revocation.
Oh,
And I
that's
wound up
rad.
telling him, he was also my neighbor. So, because he lived like 2 blocks away. So I'd run into him all the time.
It's
And I
rad.
talked about, the idea for Slay at Home, and he gave me the confidence. He's like, dude, that would be super sick, and I'd be part of it. And
Yeah.
so I was like, all right, let me feel it out. So I started sending out emails and asking everybody, like, hey, if I were to do this, would you be in a situation where you could like record at home, or something like that? Um and that's really how it kind of all snowballed. And it it went from like being possibly something I can do to
Hmm.
just consuming my life.
I could imagine.
That first festival was just a really insane thing to do. I've never done anything like this before. I've never organized, I've organized events, but I've never like organized something this big, and
Yeah.
this far fetched and ambitious and worldwide. And so it was a lot of explaining and re-explaining and explaining again what the fuck it was and what I wanted to do. Because like I was taking ideas from my favorite festivals like Roadburn and Summer Breeze, and like, I want a
Yeah.
little bit of this and a little bit of
That's
that.
how
And
I was looking at it too. I was like, this gives me that vibe of like Roadburn and stuff.
absolutely, man, I
Yeah.
love Roadburn. I go every year.
That's
I
rad.
love the idea of discovery. It's to me like
Hmm.
a good festival
Yeah.
is a discovery tool.
Hmm.
I love to watch bands that I have only heard in demo form or Bandcamp or whatever else, kind of like unfold in front of me and see what they can do.
Hmm.
I love the idea of commissioning bands to do things that they wouldn't normally do,
Hmm.
I think I'm in a unique position in my life where I know just a fuck ton of players around the world, and from doing this for so long and being just a general dude hanging out with people, and that shit always surprises me. Like, I'm like, oh, the
Yeah.
guys in Black Dahlia Murder, who I'm really good friends with, like they may not know the guys in Typo Negative. And I'm like, all right, well, I know them all. So let me try and get everybody in the same room to do something. And
Yeah.
it'd be cool, right?
Exactly.
So shit like that kind of like that actually started with the 15-year anniversary of Mental Injection. I
Oh.
put together sort of like a metal allegiance of my own
Hmm.
for in celebration of our 15-year anniversary, and which had so
I think
many
I
different
remember this.
players. And that was kind of my first outing as like getting people together to do covers,
Hmm. Oh
and
yeah, I do remember that.
I was really stoked on it because I got to play
Yeah, you
with
played drums,
friends. Yeah, I did
right?
drums
Yeah, I
for
remember
with
watching that video.
me and Billy from Dillinger. We shared the drum duties, and we did drums, and I got to play with like Alex Skolnick. Even though I've known him for many years, like it was cool to finally get to jam with him, and a lot of these people. So it all started there. I think like the idea of getting people together
Yeah.
to do something cool. And then once the pandemic hit, moving forward a couple of years, that's when I was like, all right, I've already done something similar in real life. I think I can do it in web form,
Yeah. Yeah. Why not?
and yeah, why not? And then it happened, man. But like it was just overwhelming. I was having panic attacks, and
Oh,
you
dude, I
know,
can't.
it
I feel
was
like it's like when I look at Slay at Home and I see all the guests, I'm like, how the fuck did he do this? Like, I couldn't even get like I booked like 50 or 60 bands, which is outrageous, but I couldn't even get them all to do it. So to get, I mean, especially the guests that you've had and have coming up is insane, and and you're doing like all the editing, right?
I'm literally doing everything.
Jesus
So
Christ.
it's a misconception that I have like this massive team to do this, and it's like,
Not at
dude,
all.
I wish, but to be honest, like I mean, part of it is again, the fact that it's not like a corporate thing. It's I personally know all these people, so it's like half of it's not even on email, but like they're calling me and texting me, and like, you know,
It's all, yeah.
fucking, you know, David Vincent's calling, or Max Cavalera's on the phone with me right now, you know, like, and I gotta obviously answer to explain what's going on, and, you know, their contributions and stuff. I'm just very fortunate that I know a lot of awesome dudes, and so, and I'm kind of like the guy, you know, organizing all this, so I can't like really pass that along.
No, you
I
can't.
do. I want to give a shout out to two people though. Corinne Westbrook, she's been amazing with, you know, all the social media stuff for Slay at Home. So I at
Awesome.
least took that off my plate, you know, like, because I the first time around, I was
Yeah.
also trying to do that, and that was like, why am I doing
Yeah,
this? You
what
know,
the
like,
hell?
I got to like schedule post every, you know, few hours. Like, that should have been
Yeah.
the least of my worries, but I was even doing that. So she helps out with the social media post, and Mikhail Marinus, who has come through in a big way. I mean, the dude, we kind of met through this, actually. Like, I really needed a mixer that I can trust during the first festival, and he's actually stuck with me through the entire course
It's
of Slay at
incredible.
Home. And he's been, so every cover that you'll see me on, even though a lot of the ones that I'm not on, he's the one taking hundreds of files and compiling it together and making it sound awesome.
Wow.
And yeah, so otherwise it's all me corresponding, curating, organizing, hosting, editing all this together, updating the website, you know, just it's a lot. And then also a lot of the, you know, it's not just the covers that I'm on, like I said, but it's covers that I'm not on at all, you know, and because I don't want it to be all about me, you know, like, for
Yeah, of
instance,
course.
there's a cover on coming up with Brandon Ellis. It's going to be the first time that people get to see him sing, and I'm so stoked on like,
Wow.
because this kid is like one of
I
the most,
didn't even know he
like,
sung.
exactly, dude. Like, the world is
Wow.
gonna shit their pants when they hear this kid sing. I'm not even joking, dude. He's like
Holy
one
shit,
of the
man.
brightest stars, and you know, I mean, you know, Black Dahlia is doing fantastic, and of course in part because of his contributions.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I you know, wait till they see what happens next. You know, like, he's come through in a big way. And anyway,
That's incredible.
originally I was gonna do drums for the cover that he's on, but I'm like, you know what? I'm doing. It's like, it's not a song that I'm passionate about, and
Yeah.
it's something that he really wanted to do, and I want to make it as awesome and fun for him as possible.
Of
So I
course.
wound up calling on another buddy, Matt Thompson, who plays for King Diamond, to do drums on that, and he was like down in a second. And
That's
um,
incredible.
you know, but
Him on it.
that's kind of how it goes. A lot of every cover
Mm-hmm.
is completely different. Like, and the story of how it came together is all completely different, you know. So
Yeah.
a lot of it is a back and forth conversation with one dude, you know, usually a guitar player, and I'll start asking, like, what are songs that you're interested in doing? And sometimes they have like one clear idea, like, I want to do this song. I'm
Yeah.
like, all right, you know. And
You sure?
no,
No,
you know
no,
what?
I
I'm
know.
I'm stoked. I'm
Yeah.
stoked.
Hey, dude. Yeah, exactly.
Because every single one of them blows me away. I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, even I'll be honest. So Billy from Dillinger Escape Plan, he came to me saying, like, hey, I want to do, I asked him if he would be part of this show.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, yeah, I would love to. I want to do a cover, but I want to do this really off the wall um cover of what can't I think of it right now? My Bloody Valentine.
Oh.
And I'm not a fan of that band at all.
Yeah.
But he wound up covering something with Conga and Elliot from Little Punk People and Sergio from Deftones,
Oh, wow.
and it came out awesome, you know, and it like transformed.
Nailed
They
it.
took a song that I didn't really care for, and they made it something really cool.
Yeah.
Um, and you know, so I encourage people to have ideas and come to me with them, and see where it goes, you know.
Yeah. Why not? I mean,
But that said, there's a ton of songs that I, you know, even you know what, a lot of them, they'll come to me, and you know, artists will be like, hey, I want to do a cover with you
Mm-hmm.
of this song, and I'll be like, all right, cool. Well, especially because you asked, I'm honored to do it.
Yeah.
So of course
Like
I'm
with you
doing
on
it with you.
drums, right? You're saying?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm like, yeah, of course I'll do that with you. That's fucking sick. Why am I gonna say no to some of these people? It's
Yeah.
like, yeah.
Why? How could you, right? Especially so.
So, but that said, because I keep saying yes to other people's songs, I don't think I've ever really covered any of the ones that I wanted to do. You know.
And it
So
just adds it also. I mean, how many covers are you on? Like, are you on a few coming up over the
Uh,
weekend?
y- yeah. So this weekend, there's a lot of covers. I gotta say,
Yeah.
and there's a lot of original sets, but there's a fuck ton of covers. So, and every single hour, which is, you know, and I'm sure you can really sympathize with this, but like it's such a hard thing to kind of stack the lineup.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, well, who goes where, and you know, is this person gonna bitch because they're going first or whatever else, you know.
Mm-hmm.
That's always a hard
That
thing
is
to,
hard to do.
yeah, like to put, like,
You're doing the
you
set
want to make,
list,
yeah, like your set list, but like
or
with bands, with
set
artists,
times. Yeah. Yeah.
and it's like you want to give everybody a really great spot, and you want everybody to shine in their place, and
Of course.
you know, like the size of the band does contribute to some degree, but I kind of rewrote the script for that, and so I made sure that, and as I did with the first festival, this festival is going to follow the same logic. Every single hour is really big bands and names next to small bands, small names,
Okay.
and artists, like art installations,
Yeah.
and covers and originals. So I have a good blend. Like how I thought of it was like, all right, let me create an EP, you know, and like this is a block. Hour one is this EP. Hour two is this EP. Hour three is this EP. You know, it's
Yeah.
just, and it's kind of like a mixtape, so to speak. You know,
I like that.
so every single hour is gonna feature big names, small names, covers, originals, like all of it. Everything I have to
Everything.
offer is gonna show up in every hour.
Damn.
So that will entice people to stick around every hour,
Yep.
and not like, oh well, I'm just gonna tune in for the last hour because that's gonna be all the big bands.
Mm-hmm.
That's not how this works
It's
for me.
not gonna how. Yeah, it's not how it works. And how long is each day for at least the one
So
coming up?
it's funny because I can finally answer this because I just
Did you just finish
finished the
it?
show like 20 minutes before I saw you. Uh, and that is, and you know what? And I'll be honest, because this is live right now, but like I haven't actually finished the panels yet.
Yeah, you're
So, like,
saying.
as soon as I'm done with you, like I have to get to work with fixing all the panels and editing that and getting it all sorted, and then uploading and tagging and you know, optimizing and everything. And
God,
so
a lot of work.
I will say that every single one of these is a miracle, a mini miracle that they're done in time. There was, in the year of Slay at Home, only once that I have to push back the start time, I think like 30 minutes or something, because it was just that late, you know. But like,
Oh wow.
these things are there, it's intense, you know. I mean, like, first of all, you can set deadlines all day long. Half the bands are going to blow them, you know.
Yeah. Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, I will say, for the most part, they were great this time
Yeah.
around. And that in part is I just got smarter. I'm like, all right, well, I need, you know, a good month. So I'm going to set the due date a good month before the show, and then like deal with the fallout, you know.
Yeah.
But what I didn't anticipate was just like, you know, the amount of covers is insane on this one.
Yeah, it's
So
pretty
the
intense.
amount of mixing and editing and files and you know, it's intense for sure.
Yeah, I can't imagine. I really cannot.
Yeah, there's a good amount. So anyway,
like-
sir, you were saying, yeah, I do play on a bunch of the covers on this one. There is a lot of them. I think I do maybe 6.
Damn.
On this weekend.
And did you go to like a specific studio in town to do them all at? Do you
No,
have, like,
they're
a
all
spot?
done. They're all done at our homes, our respective homes. Like
Oh, so you-
the fashion of Slay at Home is to be at home.
Like you have to, yeah.
Yeah, You don't have to be. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, some people, they go to a studio like Max Cavalera. You know, he doesn't have the equipment at home to
Gotcha.
record his tracks, so he was at a studio working on something anyway. I don't know what, and nor do I want to say publicly. You know?
Of course.
But he was working on something, and so I wound up getting him in a good time where he could lay down his guitar track and dude, like, so that's a great scenario where I asked him to be on a cover, and he's like, yeah, I would love to be on a cover, but you know what, I would love to do another song with you. And I was like, what, me? Like, yeah. Yeah, dude, I'll play with anything you want all day long, you know?
Yeah, dude, especially Max, come on.
So
that's awesome.
Yeah, I'm very stoked on that. On the thing that I'm doing with Max is unreal. Like, it's a dream come true. I have another one where with David Vincent, you know, Morbid Angel, David Vincent, Morbid, Ultimus, like me, him, and Tom from Carcass get together on a song, and it's just, I'm so stoked to be part of that too. And David Vincent picked the song. Like, it's literally a Motorhead song that I think I maybe heard once, you know.
Wow.
And I'm just stoked to be on part of it.
That's incredible. You know? Yeah. Did you, I mean, without this, none of this probably would have happened. Like, you playing drums on so many different things. I mean,
yeah, I guess
it's kind of crazy,
true,
right?
Yeah, like, it's again going back to the idea that like my life and work is so integrated, you know. And I do think, I've always said this, but I think that being a musician makes me better at what I do for a living.
Definitely.
You know, and vice versa, you know. Because do what I do for a living, and my full understanding of the industry makes me better equipped to be in a band. It's just a little unfortunate that since Enabler, I haven't really been in a, you know, real band. So that's actually something I hope to get back to be honest, you know. Really, after Slay at Home,
want to start playing again.
Yeah, well, you know, now that I'm done playing everybody else's songs, I'd love to play, you know, one of my own bands.
Yeah.
But I just need a band to do that.
Yeah. Someone out there, hire Frank, get Frank. You know, start a band with Frank. Don't hire, you know.
Yeah.
Maybe with Max. Who knows?
That'd be
wild.
I think I
maybe with Dave from Revocation. What are you doing, Dave?
Yeah. You know what's funny is, like, we were at a bar like a couple weeks ago, and somebody's like, "Oh, are y'all in a band together?" And we're like, technically no, but sort of yes. Like, we've definitely jammed so many times together, you know.
Oh, that's awesome. That's kind of
so
great.
But that guy has Gargoyle and Revocation. Super busy. So
yeah, he's a super busy guy. So I read today, actually, because Nikki from Metal Blade sent out a PR press release about Slay at Home, and I was reading it, and you guys have raised, I mean, you and everyone that, you know, obviously has been a part of Slay at Home, has raised over $200,000 in donations, which is nuts.
Right?
That is insane. I say the same thing. Did you expect it to raise that much? Probably not. I mean, I don't know, right? It's hard to tell.
Well, I was hoping for $1 million. No.
You have all failed me.
No, so here's the thing with that is I first of all, I feel weird even saying that much, because I'm not, you know, charity has been a big part of my life for the past decade. You know, I'm vegan. I have been giving, you know, I'm really into animal rights activism. That's great, you know, in my private life. I don't make that a known thing because I don't, you know, like, I don't like being preachy or whatever.
I totally understand.
You know, I'm not going to tell people how to live their life or not to eat meat and all that other stuff.
I respect that.
Person or vegan or anything, but this is what works for me, you know. So I've been part of organizations and sanctuaries and stuff like that for the past decade. I've been giving, you know, a percentage of my income for the past decade to the things that I believe in. And that was very quiet, you know. And so I have been working with charities a really long time. And, you know, when it came time to doing something like this, and especially during the COVID era, people were like kind of boasting about like, well, we raised 80,000, we raised this, we raised that. And I was just like, to me, that's a little tacky. Like, it's looking for attention, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
I don't want to like put out how much we made and stuff like that, nor do I care, because that's not really the point of all this. It's not to pat myself on the back and say like, oh well, we did this. But I will say that I'm really proud of the viewers and the
Mm-hmm.
people watching, and that, you know what I mean, because it's a free show, and
Surveys.
I'm
Yeah,
not
exactly.
asking for money for entry. I'm not doing raffles, so
Mm-hmm.
it really takes an extra effort for the people at home to go to these organizations and put their donation forthright, and I can't thank them enough for doing that. And the fact that they raised over $200,000, it means nothing on me, it means everything on them, on
Yeah.
everybody out there watching, viewing. That's fucking amazing, and I can't
It's
thank
incredible.
you guys enough for doing that. I'm just a dude putting a show together, but you guys are actually making that shit happen, and that's awesome.
No, that is very fucking awesome. And the charity, have the charities changed each one, or they've been the same charities you've been donating to?
So they have been because like I said before, the original festival was a 2-day festival, and then I went through a lot in my personal life. My dad passed away, and
sorry.
that was like the most gut-wrenching, fucked up experience of my entire life.
Yeah.
And he was really sick. I mean, he had pancreatic cancer, and
Oh wow, I'm very sorry, man.
and it was sudden, and it was crazy, and it was just the
Jeez.
worst 10-month experience of my life, and it's traumatic, and something I'm still dealing with.
Yeah.
But and that was all happening when I was making the first Slay at Home.
Oh,
So
wow.
I didn't really even get to enjoy the first one that much, because I was so devastated, so to speak, like
Mm-hmm.
with the condition of my dad, and immediately afterwards, like I think I enjoyed it for like 5 minutes, to be honest with you, like the success of it all. And then I went to Pennsylvania, to their house, and dealt with being with family,
Yeah, for sure.
and for months I didn't even think about doing work, or didn't want to talk to anyone, and whatever else. And when it came back to coming back to work, the first thing I thought of was like, I want what I do to be meaningful,
Yeah,
and
definitely.
and that's where Slay at Home came in. Like
Mhm.
in a way, it kind of saved me. Like it allowed me to get back to work, and at the same time felt like I was doing something for the greater good. It brought a lot of attention to metal injection. It brought a bigger audience to metal injection. So I think everyone, the bands were busy and getting attention. I think it helped literally everyone involved,
Yeah.
and including these charities. So I wound up doing it monthly. That's when it turned into a monthly show, and I started picking a new charity for every month. And I got, a lot of them were charities that I believed in. Obviously, cancer research was one.
Mhm.
And I did have an animal sanctuary and animal rights one, and
That's awesome.
Toys for Tots is always one that I give to during the
That's a great
holidays. So for this one coming up, there's actually 4 great charities that we're giving to that I have actually worked with before, including Music Cares,
Mhm.
which was the very first one. The very first festival was also for Music Cares, and they're a great organization that helps bands, and artists, and personnel and industry,
Yeah.
people in need. And they were responsible for handing out $25 million during quarantine for stagehands and whatnot that were out of work, and really helped, keep people alive,
Yeah. No, they did a lot.
Other than that, we have the Iggy Fund. That's new.
Yeah, that's a new one.
That's actually
Yeah.
a organization that Max Cavalera and his wife Gloria are part of, for diabetes of children who are born with it and really have no say in the sickness. And so that's something that they're passionate about. And when I was talking to Max on the phone about doing the songs and stuff, he mentioned it, and I was just like, that's totally what we're here for, and I would love to
Bring it on. Let's do it.
bring it on. Yeah. And what else is there? There's now National Association of Mental Illness, which I definitely back 100% as somebody who is, very outspoken, especially these days, about mental health. And, a lot of the interviews that I've done on metal injection the past, throughout the quarantine has really touched on, the impact of mental care, and so that's really important. And cancer research. And I mean, there's so many amazing organizations that I
there's
got
a
to
ton.
work with, and there's still so many other amazing charities out there that I urge people to be part of. And it feels good to be part of something that helps and something bigger than yourself.
Oh yeah, it definitely does. I think that's a
But
great thing.
anyway, the point that you're making about like the money raised, I actually counted originally because people kept asking me, and originally it was like at $189,000, and that was really early in, so it was like after the second show or something.
Oh,
And I was like, you know what? I'm from now on, I'm just gonna say over $200,000 because I don't want to keep counting this. It doesn't matter,
yeah, exactly.
like
Like
it's
what the
just it's a
number is.
great thing. I don't care what the number is. I just care that
Yeah,
people are still giving.
exactly. That's what really matters here. Not about how much total has been raised.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the panels for Stay at Home. Is this you've done did you do the panels before?
No, never.
No, right? Okay, okay.
No.
I was
So
like,
it's
wait, did he do the panels before? Did I miss those?
no, and it's what? It's actually something that I've had as an idea for a very long time. I literally have a list of ideas always. I mean, that's just
Yeah.
me. Like I said, my fucking brain never stops, and I'm always writing something down. And panels and certain topics or panels was something that I've always had in mind throughout. Actually, before the quarantine, I wanted to do filmed panels in person, and in real life, and coordinating people was always an issue. So like I was like, oh well, you know what, this would be a perfect opportunity to get people together, and because like Zoom has changed the world and how we communicate, and it's fucking awesome, you know. I mean, in fact, it's such an awesome thing. I hope we never go back to doing like regular interviews again, you know. Exactly. And not only that, but it's like we're in the comfort zones that we want to be in the climate we want to be in, and location we want to be in. It's I think there's only upsides to doing stuff like this more in the future. And panels obviously was something that I kind of pulled out. Once again, looking to my favorite festivals, I think the hallmark of a great festival out there, especially a lot of the European festivals,
Yeah.
do this. They have a side program, and I've always kind of implemented the idea of a side program, with like the art section, for instance, the art installations and whatnot. Looking to Roadburn, they have a whole art gallery and a
They
section and
do.
shit like that, and it's awesome. And I've actually been on a lot of panels, speaking on behalf of Metal Injection on certain topics around the world at some of these panels. And I was like, oh, well, I would love, I've had a great experience being a speaker on these things, and I would love to bring something like this to Slay at Home, especially ones that are relevant. So
Yeah.
there's 3 panels that are going to happen. One tomorrow that's called Monetizing Metal, and it's all about branding yourself as really like as a YouTuber and a Twitch artist. And I mean, you can, I think, get down with that.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's right up your alley.
It is.
So that's the first one. We have Matt Hafey on board, and Finn
Dude, Matt,
McKenty, like the guys
the
who
Twitch
really.
pioneer right there.
Oh,
The
dude, yeah,
musician.
absolutely.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So that's the first one that's going to kick off tomorrow before the show. So all these all these panels are happening right before the show. So you do have to click, a separate link
Yeah.
to watch it. But that's all. It's just as free. It's happening an hour before the show. If you go to Slay at Home website, slayathomefest.com, I actually have all of the videos lined up for you
I
to
saw
just
that.
basically
I
go one after the other.
Yeah, I went and clicked set reminder.
Yeah. Or please go to our Metal Injection YouTube page. It's all right there on the top bar, the going live. Set your reminders. Yeah, so that's the first one happening tomorrow. We have 2 on Saturday. One is No Longer a Boys Club, which is about the women in metal and how
That's
like
great.
they've definitely taken on bigger and better roles, and how important that is, and the shit that they had to deal with to get where they are today, and
Yep.
and what it looks like in the future. And last but certainly not least, the very last panel before the big finale is going to be the future of touring, featuring this young man that I'm looking at right now, Mr.
Hello.
as well as Dan Rosenblum and Tim Borer.
Yeah, dude.
And it's an honor to talk to you guys about about the coming out of this mess, about the future of what to expect, and the chaos of the rollout
Yeah.
of this whole thing.
Yeah. No, thank you again for inviting me to do that and working around my schedule.
Oh, it's all
So I
good,
was
man.
out of town. I was like, when you hit me up for the first one, I was like, fuck. I hope
it's
you
all
can.
good.
Yeah, I was like, I feel so bad.
Dude,
But it worked perfectly.
That
It worked
was
out
like a
perfectly.
small window into my life the past several
Oh,
weeks
yeah.
doing this, like scheduling and rescheduling, and hey, is it done yet? And like hounding
Everybody.
people, and yeah,
Follow up emails. My life. Our life.
I want to wish email box was a tangible box that I can burn sometimes. Yeah.
Yes.
Uh,
It's our life, literally.
when
Follow up
you
emails. That's what I tell everyone.
when you take like 2 hours to walk through a park and you come back to 300 emails, you're like, wow, I want to fucking kill myself right now.
Yeah, like literally, I want to throw this away. Again. Dude, yeah, it's awesome that you added the panels. I think that was a great thing to do. And this is the finale, right? This is
It is the finale of Slay at Home as you know it.
yes.
I have decided that. So I mean, and Slay at Home, it was something that was born out of the quarantine, and I think it made sense. But I don't want to overstay my welcome. I think I did something,
I understand that.
really cool with it. I want to go out with a bang, not a whimper. Slay at Home doesn't make a whole lot of sense when nobody's home, like. So I think it more importantly, I think that looking back years from now, I want to look back on it and be like, you know what, that was an awesome moment in time.
Yeah. A lot of people are going to look
Well,
back at it.
it
Man.
actually wasn't an awesome
Well, it
moment.
wasn't, but yeah.
Moment in time. But like what we did with it, was a really cool thing.
Yeah, it's very positive. And
Yeah.
it probably helped. I mean, everyone that you got involved with it, I mean, you really helped them out during a hard time. I mean, honestly, kept them somewhat busy doing something they love, that they did not expect to do, obviously,
Yeah,
So,
and,
I mean,
and also,
it's crazy, man.
honestly, man, what's kept it going for me has been the amount of feedback from all the viewers, like telling me like how it got them through a really hard time and stuff
That as
like
well.
that. And that's like
That's huge.
I don't even know how to respond or what to say other than thank you guys, because like that means the world to me that they're paying attention and watching and joining me. I feel not so alone, like with thousands of metalheads around the world watching this silly thing that I'm curating.
Yeah.
I gratitude all around, gratitude for the bands involved, every single band, every single viewer, everybody who's ever donated. I have nothing but gratitude for everybody. And again, I think that it was, Slay at Home had its moment in time. I am going to take elements of it
I figured.
and do something else, another stream with it, because I do think the format works, and I love the idea of a community and then people getting together. And I'm sure that you could get down with that as,
Oh,
as
yeah.
built a community of your own on Twitch, you know.
Yeah.
Um, so, oops, sorry.
It's all good.
Um,
Yeah. No, I mean, to bring all these like musicians together and whatnot, and you know, I'm sure some of them have never like played together before or did anything together, right? I mean, all of them, a lot of them,
a lot of
a
these
lot.
guys, like I said before, a lot of these guys like never even met each other before, and that blows my mind. I'm like, you guys are on the same label. Like I take for granted, like, oh well, you're playing the same festivals,
Yeah,
and you're like, or even on tour with each other. That always surprises me.
I
Like,
know.
you know, maybe I'm just like a friendly drunk or something, but I'm like, you know, day one, like wrap my head around what's going on. Day two, introduce myself to everybody on the tour, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Day three, best friends, you know.
Best friends. That's how it is.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's
So I love bringing people together, and hopefully, you know, a lot of these guys spark friendships and do something cool,
yeah.
you
You
know,
never
and
know.
maybe
It's.
bring
I
it
mean,
together. I've actually heard a couple of dudes hit me up and thank me, like, oh, thanks for introducing me to so and so. We're actually talking about jamming some more, and I'm like,
wow,
fucking hey, man, if I'm responsible for like putting a new band together,
dude.
sick. You know, like,
How awesome would that be? Just
yeah. I mean,
this band was formed because of Slay at Home Fest. It's like what?
I would love that. You know, hearing more of that would be
Yeah,
amazing. You know, and
definitely would be.
again, my small contribution, man. That's it. You know,
Yeah,
like I leave the world better than when you found it. You know,
exactly.
and hopefully that's what it is.
Yeah, no, I mean you're doing. I mean, the lineup coming up. I mean, you have guests, members of what is it? I wrote down some Deftones, Incubus, Megadeth, Killswitch, Typo Negative, Carcass, Madonna.
Yeah. So a good friend of mine, Monty Pittman, he's
Yes, Monty.
yeah, Monty. Yeah, yeah. Well, Madonna herself, of course, is not going to be on it, but yeah,
Yeah,
Monty, who is her guitar player slash guitar teacher slash, you know, like
yeah, Monty. Yeah,
man, he's an
hmm
amazing dude, and yeah, so he's going to be part of this. He's
that's
plays
fucking
some
awesome.
really killer track with a bunch of others.
Wow. Yeah, because no one really knows who's playing with who, right? Until you
So
see it.
we on the main poster, it's just like a lot of names, like it's overwhelming,
Yeah, it
and
is
then
overwhelming. I'm like, whoa.
yeah, a lot of reading to do here.
Yeah, like these are some names here.
Yeah, I didn't know I needed a college degree to read a poster. So yeah, there's a lot of names on there,
Mhm.
and we wound up putting. If you go to like the Slay at Home Instagram page, you'll find like individual promo cards of each player who's
Oh
playing.
yeah, I've been seeing those
Because
get posted.
to
I gotta
put
look up.
all that information on a poster, like it would be even worse than what it
There's
looks
no
like.
way possible. It'd be like a 10-page poster.
Yeah.
Send
So you
out
get
books to
to,
people.
if you really want to know every player, it's up there, you know, on
Yeah,
the Slay at Home socials. So check that out if you'd like.
definitely, man. Yeah, everyone, please go to slayathomefest.com. Anyone who is in here, I'm gonna try to get this posted up like today or tomorrow,
Or you know, or
so people
you
can
can
watch
follow
them.
me on Instagram.
Yes,
I post a ton of shit and
you
probably
do.
annoy the living hell out of people. You
I
know.
don't think you. I don't think you do that. You don't post that much.
No, I try not to,
Yeah,
honestly.
that's how I
Just
am.
kind of like the highlights, you know.
There we go. Spam Frank's Instagram link in the chat. Everyone, please go follow Frank. You won't regret it.
If you like metal and motorcycles and festivals and I mean, you know,
I mean, come on.
pizza,
And pizza?
yeah,
How
all the
could you
hot
not
words.
love that? Yeah, all the hot words.
Yeah.
Dude, awesome. I'm really stoked you were down to do this. And thank you for doing it. And also, thank you for inviting me to be a panelist as well. I did
Oh,
not expect that at all. And I really thank you for that. That was awesome to do with Tim and Dan and
absolutely, man. And
yourself.
thank you for having me. This is awesome.
Yeah.
You know.
We'll talk about Twitch some more.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's
It's
and
been,
you know, hopefully we get together in person and hang
yes.
out and you know,
Oh,
have
yeah,
a drink.
definitely. No, definitely will. I'll be, probably this fall, I'll probably be back up in New York at some point, seeing
Okay.
some
Well, hey
shows.
man, I'm fluid. I'm all over the place. I don't even know what city you're in, but
I'm in Dallas right now. I live in
About,
Dallas.
it's a matter of time before I'm in Dallas.
Okay, good. Are you
Yeah.
still traveling around?
Oh yeah.
That's
I mean,
awesome, man.
I basically a couple maybe 2 months ago, I was
I
living
saw.
in LA for like 4 months, and then I came home to New York, and just like like we kind of talked about earlier, but like
Yeah.
you can be anywhere doing what we do.
Mm-hmm.
So I just sold everything that I own except for my car, my motorcycle, drums, guitars, and camera, lights,
The
equipment,
essentials.
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, just the
What the
essentials.
stuff
Oh,
you
and a
need.
couple t-shirts.
Yeah, a few T-shirts.
And then just packed it in my car, and now I can live wherever, and get to stay in like Airbnbs and
Yep.
friend places that are vacant or whatever else.
Oh yeah, I saw. I was like, I remember when you announced that you're going, like,
Nomad.
traveling. Yeah, nomad, and I was always looking at your story, and which you could still go see on his Instagram under his, what do they
Oh
call
yeah,
them? The highlights, right?
yeah.
You check out
I
where
got
he's
the
been.
fanciest mic for a homeless guy that you've ever seen.
Mm-hmm. Well, awesome, dude. I will let you go so you can finish up editing,
Oh yeah,
so you
yeah,
can
it's
get
coming
that
up.
done with. And yeah, we'll talk soon, man.
Awesome.
All right.
Cheers, man. Thank you.
Cheers. Take it easy.